أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وننزل من القرآن ما هو شفاء ورحمة للمؤمنين ولا يزيد الظالمين إلا خسارا. Subhanallah, Allah says in the Quran, we send down the Quran as a healing and mercy for the believers, but it only increases the wrongdoers in loss. And the point about this ayah that I would like to focus on for this fourth video in the Deen Fitness Process is the fact that our Creator says to us that He sent down the Quran as a healing and a mercy for those who believe. SubhanAllah, the Quran is a healing, and it is a comprehensive system of living and living as a believer. And the fact of the matter is, most Muslim doctors and Muslims who have knowledge and understanding and ponder will tell you that everything that we need, every single aspect of life, is in the Quran. And if we were to follow the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, we would be optimal servants in many, many aspects of our life. The aspect that we're talking about today is how we lose our fitness and our health due to following things other than the Quran and the Sunnah. Now, this is not to point fingers and to blame or what have you. It's just to tell you that, subhanAllah, in a very simplified manner, everything that you find in the Quran and the Sunnah is the key to optimal fitness and health, and the key to becoming an optimal worshipper, an optimal servant of Allah azzawajal. So, as the fourth video in the process of getting back to fitness, we talked about a roadmap. And this video is about the roadmap. And there are waypoints in a roadmap, in a map to an objective. Well, the first waypoint, the first component of that synergy that I had talked about before between diet, exercise, and fasting is diet. So the component, the first waypoint that we talk about today is diet. And I wanted to break this down. You know, the reality is, diet is, it would take many sessions for me to be able to explain everything that I've learned over 3 years. So you're definitely going to get the 50,000 foot level of the diet component, okay? The waypoint number 1 on this roadmap. We're going to talk about what to eat, when to eat, why we eat, how we eat. And when I say how we eat, I mean, how do we combine foods? What time of the day do we combine? When do we drink? When do we eat? And other factors. And killer foods. Foods that actually are inflammatory and toxic and cause damage to your body every time you consume these items. And this damage ultimately results in what's called metabolic syndrome. And metabolic syndrome is characterized in many ways. Diabetes is a marker. Body fat, belly fat, heavy belly fat, a liver that's malfunctioning, a pancreas that's malfunctioning. Many other hormonal imbalances are signs of and clear markers of metabolic syndrome. So we're going to talk about how the diet gets you to this metabolic syndrome. Some other things that men experience: low testosterone, early hair loss, very bad acne, and other skin diseases and irritations. These are all signs of, and can be signs of, metabolic syndrome related to what we eat in our diet. And so it's important to break this one component down, so that we can understand how we can leverage new behaviors and our new relationship with food in order to improve our fitness and our health. Now, the first stop along this path is what to eat. And I will tell you my own experience with what I eat. Okay? The fact is, when a person is metabolically ill, that means that you are carrying a lot of weight, unhealthy weight, and you have other factors like hair loss and liver problems. Your blood markers are off. Your HDL, your LDLs are not correct. Your cholesterol, you've got coronary artery calcium buildup, and lots of other factors. I mean, the number of symptoms that happen and can happen because of poor diet are numerous. And so when you have any signs of any of these symptoms, rather, it is time to start looking at your diet. Exercise does play a huge role, but diet most certainly is the number one factor. So the best thing to understand about the human body and marvel at the engineering of Allah azzawajal is how He is able to make us absorb food so that we have energy and continue to exist. It's good to learn this process, how food is converted and absorbed into your cells and used to create energy and grow your body. And so most of the times, right, we're eating proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. And each of those compounds, they have a purpose in our body. And again, let's keep thinking of Allah, because Allah is the designer. And so He designed a purpose for the proteins to lay down muscle. He designed the fat in order to it serves a function for us, for our healthy brains and for other functions in our body. And He designed us to have carbohydrates in order to have energy and other functions. So He created these, if you would, buckets in our body. And there's buckets for protein, buckets for fats, and buckets for carbohydrates. The problem starts to begin when we don't understand how much each bucket should contain. What are the limits for each of these buckets? And so let me give you a really simplified example. If I were to sit and just eat bread all day, that's a carbohydrate. If I were to eat rice all day, that's a carbohydrate. My bucket of carbohydrates would definitely be overflowing. Okay? And so from a physiological and a biological standpoint, what happens is when I have too many carbohydrates, I've exceeded what my body can process, then the body, in this marvel of engineering, begins to correct what I've done to myself. And it corrects it in a way that is the best way that it can handle, so to speak. Okay, so it'll start to store excess carbohydrates, and it stores it as fat, unfortunately. And so what happens is it stores it around the liver. And if you look down at yourself right now, or if you look at yourself in the mirror, or if you look at someone else without judging, you would most certainly probably find that you have some belly fat on you. And so if you do a DEXA scan, or if you get one of those scales that we've been talking about, you will see that you have a body fat percentage that may be over what is a healthy amount. And so if you're in that situation, obviously you're causing some damage to your body, because number one, excess fat is inflammatory, and it does things to your body. Like I said, I don't want to drill down too far into the details, but it creates a lot of issues for you. Okay, and the type of fat that hangs around the liver, and you can see it as belly fat right underneath that, the skin fat, is not necessarily healthy fat. It's actually very harmful fat. When we talked about non-alcoholic fatty liver disease in one of our polls, and I hope that you would go research this some more, because you need to understand that carbohydrates, when consumed in excess, get stored on the liver and then become so inflammatory that they begin to scar the liver. This kind of scarring, my understanding is that it can be permanent. And so you are damaging your liver. And when you hear of people dying of liver disease and they are not alcoholics, okay, it's because of this type of situation. They basically ate themselves to death, right? Consuming too much carbohydrates and damaging their liver over time. Now, this doesn't happen overnight. And that's not what we're concerned with, the amount of time it takes. We're just concerned with the fact that we don't know that we're harming ourselves by consuming lots of bread, lots of rice. And trust me, I love rice. And I had a hard time giving up rice and finding alternates. Okay? And you don't have to give up everything in, forever. So there's some light at the end of this tunnel, at the end of this path, through this treacherous getting our diet back on track path. So if you are metabolically unhealthy, you need to implement a plan to fix your situation. So yeah, you might have to cut back. I love biryani. I love my wife's satay with rice. But I love bread. I love croissants in the morning. I love to be able to go to somewhere and eat a croissant or a cupcake or, some sourdough. I love that kind of stuff. But as long as I know that I am not metabolically healthy, I will have to drop those items from my diet. Now, what are healthy foods? What are good foods to eat? Well, we need to learn about those. We need to learn when consumed, what things actually help us. Well, protein is number one, okay? And healthy protein, lean healthy protein is the best. Lamb, subhanallah, lamb is a healthy protein. Salmon, chicken, turkey, fish, those are all healthy proteins, okay? And so I lean on proteins. I have lots of eggs, and I have the whites, and I have the yellows, and I have everything. And I find all my protein sources: sardines, yogurt, and protein powder. I even add protein powder to keep the protein high in my diet. Protein is good for you. Protein is what helps. It's the building block of muscle in your body. And so you need that protein to keep building that skeletal muscle, which, by the way, if you have low skeletal muscle, there are so many symptoms and disorders that can happen because of low skeletal muscle. You need to read about those. And I will drill down further later on, but for right now, we're at the 50,000 foot level. And so it's important to just understand the basics for now. So protein is my best friend. Now, funny, if you look at the slide, you'll see the guy, he's holding up his map and he's trying to understand how to get his diet on track, how to read this map to get to healthiness and fitness. And if you look at the map that he's reading, it's kind of funny because it says die, and it's supposed to say diet, but it says die on the left side. And what I wanted to cue you in is that, look, the bottom line is many people are killing themselves by the way they eat, okay? I think that the last record is that apparently 350 million people will have diabetes by the year 2030. Brothers, that's only 6 years from now. 300 something million people will have diabetes. And a lot of this type 2 diabetes is simply caused by eating improperly, eating too much and eating the wrong foods, okay? And eating at the wrong times. Well, what do I mean by that? Okay, great question. Now we get to when to eat. Subhanallah. Let's remember Allah again and His the wisdom behind the design of what happens in our body when we eat. And so when we consume something, insulin is secreted. It's a hormone that's secreted from our pancreas. And that insulin is designed in a way to help open cells up to receive the nutrients from the food that we consume. And each food has a sort of a like an index. It's called a glycemic index of how high it causes that insulin to spike. Now, funny enough, when we spike insulin, meaning when we eat, we shut down another process in our body called fat burning. Because the normal state of our body is fat burning. MashaAllah, I'm telling you, it's mind-blowing. When we are not eating, we are fat burning. Our body is like a thermogenic engine. And so we're burning fat and doing healthy things. But the minute that we eat, we shut off that process. And what I want that to trigger in your mind is that every time you open up your mouth and you put something in there, you spike that insulin, and you spike it as high as that type of food, like rice is a high glycemic food, and certain other foods like with sugars and stuff are very high glycemic. And it's important to know what's high and low so that you can be comfortable and design a menu and a meal and a plan for eating that will help you and not hinder you. And so this insulin gets spiked, and it does what it's supposed to do, all the healthy stuff, putting nutrients into cells, putting fats where they're supposed to go, putting proteins where they're supposed to go, and putting carbohydrates where they're supposed to go. The problem is, well, not problem, it's just that we need to understand that insulin stays up for about 2 hours, maybe 2, even 3 hours in certain cases, depending on the glycemic index and values of the different foods. And so if we just imagine that every 2 hours my insulin is going down so that my body can go back to fat burning status, I open up my mouth and I put something else in there. Okay, what have I just done? Well, I've just spiked my insulin again. And now it's another 2 hours before I'm able to get back into normal fat burning. Okay? So when to eat is so critical. And this is the whole basis of why fasting is a miraculous effort, okay? A miraculous exercise, to call it. So when we are fasting, our body's like purging. It's in a great fat burning process. It is eating up unhealthy cells and revitalizing and going through a certain process. That is by design. Why would you interfere with that design? That's the healthy way to be. And so what you want to do, to cut it really short, is you want to eat at certain times and then not eat. Okay? So my practice is to eat at one time, okay? 11 or 12 or 1 p.m. Then I just stop. I'll have anything that doesn't spike my insulin in between my next meal. So I'll have green tea. I'll have black coffee. I'll have water. Those things don't spike my insulin. And then 3 to 4 hours later, sometimes I won't have anything. Then I'll have my next meal. So sometimes in between I'll have nothing. But then 3 to 4 hours later, I'll have my next meal, and I'll have my second portion of my calories for the day, and then I stop eating. And that's it. I optimize the windows of time, get my calories in, and then I optimize those periods when I'm not eating to burn fat naturally, because that's the design. Okay? Eating too often and grazing all day like a cow, that's what they do. They graze all day in the field, is what is going to cause you to stop natural fat burning. And oh, by the way, if you're constantly forcing your pancreas to secrete insulin, do you think that is healthy for you? No, it's not. It's absolutely not. the pancreas is like any other organ. It can get overwhelmed and it can get tired. And when your pancreas starts to shut down, it will let you know. And you will have some serious health problems. Okay, let's move on down the road. We're making our headway. Our backpack is packed up. We're getting near to the end. Why do we eat? Why? Well, we eat to continue to exist. You know, I eat to live. I don't live to eat. And so I know because Allah encouraged me and commanded me and decreed for me to eat everything that He's put on the planet that is decreed and lawful and halal. So I eat to continue to exist so that I can perform my ibadah. Okay? And I eat to take care of this amana. I eat to take care of my body, to restore my health, to improve my health, to keep my cognitive abilities going. So I won't eat something that's going to shut down my brain. I won't eat something that's going to cause my stomach to throw up. I won't eat something that is going to make me sick in the bathroom. I won't eat something that is going to, I know down the road will have some impact on my heart or my kidneys or what have you. I research what those foods are, and I eat for my health. I eat to be able to perform better in my exercise. I eat to be so that I'm not sluggish in the morning. I eat so that I am clear when I read Quran and I'm doing tadabbur. You know, I want to be cognitively strong. So that's why I eat. Okay, to continue to exist and be a mu'min. Okay, a believer, a servant of Allah. Okay, and to do all of the things that I'm supposed to do. Da'wah, taking care of my friends, everything that Allah decreed for me. That's why I eat. I don't eat for pleasure. Now, let's talk about how to eat. I'm not going to linger on this one too long because this whole subject matter of how to eat is very new science, but I will tell you that it has helped me in terms of the last 3 years and getting my health back in shape. And so the thing about how to eat has to do with combining foods, okay? And what you want to do is you want to understand how eating carbohydrates with fats can be harmful for you. And so what I do now is I eat my proteins with my fats, or I eat my carbohydrates with my proteins. I don't combine my fats with my carbohydrates because of the chemical and biological process that takes place in the body. Okay, so I won't linger on that one too long, but we will drill down on it more in another video. I just wanted to give that to you, that we need to learn how to eat to continue on this path, this roadmap to fitness. The last thing I want to talk about is killer foods. Now, in one of the polls, in one of the slides I showed you, I talked about maltodextrin. Look, maltodextrin is a toxin. It is very, very bad. And you want to read labels. A good behavior to develop is reading labels and understanding what's in your food. Don't give that to your kids, and don't let your wife have it either, and your best friends and people that you care about. And there are many other bad foods that are damaging and harmful and toxic and inflammatory to the body. And if you are a good believer and you know that this is an amanah from Allah, your body and your health, then why would you poison your body? The food industry is enemy number one, next to shaitan, okay, who wants to bring us down and weaken us. So, you know, when I go to the grocery store, I stay away from all this ultra-processed foods. Those to me are killer foods. They're killing us. They really are. And like I said, we're at the 50,000 foot level right now, and I'm pointing out that there are foods that are harmful, toxic, and can kill you over time. Finally, let's get to metabolic syndrome. That belly fat. Put your hand on your belly. Pull some of that skin from your underarm. Look at your hair. Is it falling out? Look at your skin. Look at your eyes. Start to get a health assessment, okay, an inventory of all of your ailments. Some of these things are directly related to metabolic syndrome. How your body is handling your consumption, your relationship with food. So brothers, what I want you to do is develop good behaviors, okay? Figure out what to eat, proteins and healthy fats, and very, very minimal carbs, the right carbs. Figure out when to eat. Eat only in certain windows. Figure out why you eat. And don't graze all day long. And eat only to make a strong body and to take care and show Allah that you appreciate this amana that He gave you. And then learn how to eat, okay? Don't combine certain foods. Don't pour all this soy sauce all over. Don't put poison in your mouth, essentially. And learn what are killer foods. Become a label reader. Unlock this new power. I am a label reader, okay? And then finally, understand metabolic syndrome in the context of how it is affecting you now and how you need to beat that. That is enemy number one. And we need to climb that mountain and defeat this beast so that we can be healthy believers again. Inshallah, with Allah's will and permission, and helping each other out, accountability, taking a stand, drawing a line in the ground, and saying, I'm going to start doing it. Inshallah, with Allah's will and permission, we will get there. Alhamdulillah, Jazakallah khairan. I thank you all for being a part of the group. Continue to post your thoughts and comments and feedback. DM me if you have any questions, you want some more coaching, some more tips and advice, and continue to encourage others to be a part of the process. And especially your wife, your sisters, your mothers, you need to help them to understand what food is doing to you, her, and your kids. All right? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.